the 2nd of August 2020, and we don't come to una back with another edition of Social Media Review. As always, we get for tell God thank you, we get for submit to the Almighty God and tell and thank you for we don't keep we alive for see another day. You know, people are in bed sick, some people have died. Let God sorry for them. Who say they don't go, let God encourage the families of the bereaved. We know say the pandemic day, we were the struggle, let God in grace and mercy be upon us all. Today we see the pandemic is still going on and the updates na free tongue. We watch and see, we will talk on that issue today and we will update on waiting to go on. Also, we want to talk on the appointment, how President Bill they appoint people them and how it go through the parliamentary process. And two appointments them last week where the president been do, where make a lot of buzz on social media. One and Mrs. Marie Baby Hardin, where the president appoint and parliament approve as deputy minister of mines and mineral resources. And then also the new boss winner, Mr. Mohamed Konneh. And we get for talk on the appointment and what in the constitution say. And we get for look if we Sierra Leone constitution, they work for the Sierra Leone people. If the constitution, the way they write it, then therefore revisit the constitution for give clarity. So, beaucoup of this up and down where we dip now, so we not go dip now. Also, again, if we get time, we go talk on the census of Sierra Leone. We see the president come up with an announcement, a press brief, where say they do a census in December for try for see almost people in day. But census now we all know say census now every 10 years, but now it's only 5 years. The president called for another one. What's in the reason? We don't know, but we go try for find out what's in the reason why make they do that. And as usual, me, Fadima, the host, and my co-host Kutubu is not around today again for attend the funeral of one of his friends we pass away. And I get with me Mr. Salone, who is an attorney in America, based in North Carolina, and he has practiced law, licensed practicing attorney in America, defense attorney for over 30 years. And I also have with me my vibrant and always steadfast, another change a day when he believe what he believe, a day what he believe in conviction and the truth, and a loyal SLPP, Mr. Emmanuel Ali. I can always say Ali, you don't correct me, but I stand corrected. I will get on one day. The former Secretary General of SLPP North America, I go there for EPWI, for talk, but waiting they happen at the government for EPWI for understand. Then I get on the phone with me, Madam Mata Musa, when I in the station manager in England, VOS station manager, instead of go put your own voice inside this talk here, because we get for talk on the things. But now we build a stronger society, we get for build structures of institutions, structures in communities, we get for build them for let we go before. And uncertainty, where uncertainty then at any side, peace no day, rest no day. So we get for bring them things then come. Let we talk about now we dinner table, let we talk about our communities, let we talk about our little WhatsApp group them, let we talk about instead of doing propaganda. Let we talk the talk, let the one that the yeri, let we all sit down, let we fix the country for go before. So but as usual, I will make them tell on a quick I do, just a brief hi to una Sierra Leone brother and sister them, and then we'll continue with the program. Mr. Ali, you go first, sir.
Yeah, fellow listeners, glad you for there again, and as usual, it's nice that we remain engaged on the Sierra Leone issues them and find a way for make we get better understanding of we issues in our country, and hopefully bring we all together and around a common purpose, we will go able for assist in with development of Sierra Leone. So I'm glad you again for there. And I appreciate VOS as always for asking me to be part of this family. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Shillon, to you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Me and Mr. Shillon coming from Raleigh, North Carolina. So, as usual, I'm happy for being on board the panel and glad for the invitation. So I hope at the end of the program, we may have contributed quite a bit to whatever it takes to move the country forward. Because from my perspective, we are here not necessarily to criticize, but to bring about awareness and promote good ideas of what we hope will be helpful and useful to the country. For we were there abroad. First of all, I take the position that the space to go into politics is not wide enough or big enough for we get Sierra Leonean connection for try for help Sierra Leone through politics. Not do I believe politics is what it takes to go into. We all get different way for make contribution. So in my own little way, I participate in this program. I'm passionate about Sierra Leone, even though I've left Sierra Leone ever since I was almost a teenager. But I still get a passion for the country because I always tell people when I was home, as a young man in high school, I was a political student activist. So that has not dwindled at all, except that as an older fighter, I think I'm much better using my mind and my brain and contribute. If I've learned nothing in America, one thing I've learned, we have to give back to society and community. This is my way of giving back. Whatever idea I may have, no matter how silly it may sound, but I have no intention of going into politics. I have no intention of seeking any special favor, but I'm very passionate about the well-being of Sierra Leone because I think, we are much too smart and much too educated for being so far behind in the race of progress and development. We are too far behind. So maybe whatever we say now and whatever calls come in, go help with. So thank you very much, as always, for having me on the phone. And
thank you, sir.
I know I'm in good. I know I'm in good company.
Yes, thank you. Yes, sir.
You sure
And
are.
Madam Martha, to you, Madam.
Well, Janet Martha Musa, and me na the VOS manager na the United Kingdom. But today I did on Madam Fadima show as a guest, and like Mr. Shillon said, if I can just lean on certain things that we say, we're just back here, for contribute to we country, for make sure so we country grow, and that we not necessarily want anything from there, but what we can give to our country is the reason why we are here, So I am very happy to be here today, Madam Fadima, and I hope say, Mr. Golan as we go along.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Martha. Now we go to the COVID first. The COVID, where they happen, now the world, the pandemic of the world, we see it is going crazy and rampant, especially with this in America, and they try for control them, and one of the way that they say now mandatory mask. And I listened to the update today with the team where the government puts together through the Minister of Information in channel, where then they give the updates and then they talk on the importance of mask wearing. Because like I've said again, mask now for cover your face, it get aside from your nose to where they call this is to avoid the spread of this virus. And now the CDC don't say now airborne virus, so we therefore cover we know say we must where we they outside, and that's making them try for slow and down and for prevent them. So then they talk today of people them where not they wear them the mask then the right way, including people then at the government. We don't see people, the official people there, we don't see parliamentarian them, we don't see local people them, they do the same thing. Some not even wear the mask. But this mask is there to help us, to save our lives, to help me help you, and I help you help me. And today 1,843 confirmed cases and 67 people don't die of the COVID-19. And I watched last week where the first plane land. I see the process. It go fine. It go smooth. It go all thin. But a rumor and things that when they go out na the social media say some people that when they reach na Freetown, they say them for pay that test, that $80 for that money. Some people say why the $80, but the governments don't put on there for say we get for pay $80. People then pay the $80 when they reach na Freetown, they not do the test on them. So the one of the spokesman them na the team of people they put together talk say today. They say upon arrival already they don't get 226 people them we don't come in from where they don't open the airport, and only 2% positive, and 70 people don't go out of the country. And then they ask about this test that what they do. They have two kinds of tests. They have the rapid test and then they have the PCR. The rapid test not guarantee say it will give you good reading, because sometimes you go be negative, you go read positive, sometimes you go positive. So they don't stop for you standing because they give good reading. So now the PCR test that they use where they take 24 to 48 hours for get result. So maybe, that was why all that hoop. And we pray to God, they're able to do the test, because we try for do this COVID for let get away, because we all want to go Salone, but me go afraid, and I say beaucoup people go afraid for go Salone at this time. But if we see that they do right, let they able for doing right, let work for all man in good, for the good of the country. So done but COVID. I don't know if any of you guests they want to rub more small bit or add anything for this COVID talk here before we go to the next topic.
I get a short comment I want to make.
Yes, sir.
I understand, say, the requirement in Sierra Leone is that if you are going into the country, you should have already taken a COVID test from the country where you come out, not so?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, what's the necessity of charging people then? And when they arrive for another test, I don't understand the duplicity. I just want to get an understanding, because if it's not necessary, because the whole thing about, moving things forward is to minimize difficulties. So if, like Americans say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if we don't need for pass a law or make a requirement or regulation, when people in come, let's say you come to America, I just take the test on a Monday, I arrive in a Freetown on a Thursday. Then you say I have to pay for, in fact, take a less reliable test back home. Or is this just a way of making money? And if it is a way of making money, it doesn't cast the light most favorable to the world and to we. I mean, it doesn't cast us in the light most favorable to we, to the world, because we need to stop doing those kind of things, because they are petty, they are unnecessary, and it just add another obstacle in the process.
No, well, let me respond to that, Mr. Shilon. The COVID virus is a novel virus, which means every approach adopted for address now one way they adapt as then they go along. This has been the case in every country. Now, here's the rationale for the test now, Freetown. Yes, you're going to take a test here, but we all know you're asked to take it 72 hours before you leave, or no earlier than 72 hours before you leave. And we all know when you take an IR, in terms of in fact, you're not going to get a rapid test. If not travel, you travel. There are only some criteria where you get get a rapid test. You're going to emergency room or you're going to surgery and other stuff like that. But if you take the regular PCR test, it's going to be 4 to 10 days, 4 to 7 days. And so you are not, in fact, some places the way they go self, they're not even send you the results by email now. Then they send a call, then they call you. So by the time you get to Freetown, you're not going to have the result. that is most likely. However, the protocol has to be in place, because before you enter the plane, the airlines and IATA, they ask you and demand that you show evidence of having taken the test, which by some level of rationale, you could say, well, what if you didn't have a result? What good is it? But like I said again, it's a novel virus where people are making adjustments as they go along, doing the best they can. So once you get to Freetown now, then give the test. That stands for the test. For sure, they will know whether you get the virus or not. But number two, if you get your result later, you can still counter or compare with the test where you take in Sierra Leone. I can tell you the fact that we have 67 people dead since, I suppose, beginning of February, when we had after that, when we had the index case in Sierra Leone, that reflects a lot of credit to the government in preparedness, the processes in place, the monitoring, and the continued attention when they get to this stuff. So me believes that the government, in fact, somebody will go reflect with me, say the process in place is working, and they were extremely excited about how much the government has done to secure and protect travelers the way they go.
If I can respond.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I had questioned the reasonableness of the second testing. Now, taking into account what Mr. Ali just said about the extensive period of time it might take for get a result. Well, why doesn't the regulation say, if at your time of arrival in Freetown, you don't have any evidence of having received the test result, it's perfectly reasonable for them to do another test, because there is no evidence that you have it or you don't have it. I have no problem with that. But if the test has been taken, and the only thing is you did not get the result before you got there, I think a subsection should be of the requirement is, and in today's world, even you may be on board and they could send you the test result. So when you arrive in Freetown, they should find out if you took the test, if you have the result, what does the result say? I think that's what it is. I'm just talking about the reasonableness of it. But if you subject everybody, I mean, because why take the test now if I'm going to be tested in Freetown? Why just not get to Freetown again and take the test again? Give me the option of taking it here and taking it there. But I'm just questioning the reasonableness of it, not whether it's effective, whether the test in there is effective or not. I'm sure it is.
Well, there are two independent entities here. You're boarding the plane, and the requirements required, that has nothing to do with Australian government. It has to do with the airline. And then once you disembark, now entering the country, that has to do with Australian government. And that is where they have their own requirements. So, I mean, we've seen in America where counties, from one county to another, have different requirements. But I think the double layer of protection, in my opinion, I mean, as much as everybody is learning as we go along, again, I mean, the $80, some people, it might be some level of hardship, but I mean, the government is paying for this stuff, so you are paying for it. It costs money to travel.
Just to on the side of the government for a second, the government said that then they use the money, and then at the cheapest, they say if you do research on other countries, they pay even in England they pay £150 to do a test if you want to do one for you. So I guess that's why they're using the money. That's the explanation. They need the money to do the test, and you get to pay for the test. And the test was like, is it for exit and enter? Because when you come back to the airport, if you go spend 1 month, you got to do another test. I think that $80 there will cover for even when you live in the country too. They go do another test for where you go get to the airlines before you board the plane. So, I mean, that is their rationale that they say there was that money for. So, Madam Martha, if you don't get anything, we'll move on to the on the money.
I just checked the internet and I realized the test now £8. So I'm not supposed to say the 150 come out. It's £18 if you're doing a private test, a private COVID test. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So I don't know where government they rely on this comparison. Now, 18 pounds.
Okay, it is on the Ministry of Information, the website, the briefing we do this morning, and you can ask the question there. We can ask the question
Yeah.
there, or get somebody from we inside and pull on. But thank you so much. Okay, with the
okay.
When it comes to the topic, then now we know say don't buzz on social media all week. And this is a social media review with a come with different views, different points. Everybody gets your own take on how for do, waiting for do, and all that stuff. We see the letter where the president come up with the appointment letter where he appoints 3 people them last week. And one of the people them where he appoint, we make a buzz on social media is Mrs. Anne-Marie Baby Harden. Anne-Marie Baby Harden is the wife of Prince Harden, Dr. Prince Harden, who is the leader and chairman of the SLPP. We come to that and we don't get that established. But the question and the thing where people then they ask, some people they cry say na nepotism, na family, President Bio they compensate family, friends, and people them we don't help them before. And to in President Bio in defense for a second there, you could say in any government, everybody they bring the people them whether they do transition in government, then they bring them people them where they trust and then believe say go do the work for them. That is one part of it. But then some people argue against say the Constitution of Sierra Leone gets a clause where talk on how for you na party member, if you na APC or SLPP or where a C4C or NGC or whatever party you day, it is in their constitution that you for vote along party line. Anybody where the party displeased of for waiting the vote or waiting and tell them not do, then they can take the party symbol now and then it will end up or lose in position at parliament or wherever it did. So some people they ask the question and people they ask the question say, well then, if this clause and Koroma, former President Anes by Koroma use and say for Pul Samsumana, the first thing what they do, they strip them of the membership as APC member. Then strip them of the vice presidency and they use the clause, even though we echo was say they for reinstate them, but they say it not belong to a party. So now people and they ask the question, President Mada Bio don't appoint Dr. Harden as somebody don't get a position in administration. Then now it don't can compensate the wife by appointing her as Deputy Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources. Some people say, what is Sabi but mineral resources? I know they go that side there because I don't know what is Sabi but mineral resources. But the side part where we were all today, we want to go to the Constitution side. And the Constitution, and then we get Mr. Aliu Sontego Epwi for, broadening with knowledge of credentials and a resume for showing why make President Bio choose this woman. But then people then they say, can one man hold the Constitution at ransom? Can one person, a member, a leader of a party, if he disagree with another member of a party, let we say President Bio, for example, and people and they ask say, well, President Bio is now the president and he belongs to SLPP. And Dr. Harden is the leader and chairman of SLPP. If President Bio not make a move of how Dr. Harden wants, he can pull President Bio under SLPP, then President Bio can lose the presidency. That is another theory that is going out there. So why is it that President Bio choose this woman and then Parliament will get for can talk on them, will get for come again for talk on the neck. The neck don't make a big buzz where we'll go back and forth with the Constitution. The Constitution of 1991, we don't say Naya, we don't bring legal people in Naya, and we get Mr. Shilon, we go help give you your own little, your own idea and your own stuff because, you know, at the last minute we bring her in, so we not go all on. But in your idea on legal, you know, things, let it can tell we what here waiting for this 91 constitution, what they confuse all time, you get for being a fet, you get for being pull, you get for being talk of APC and SLPP, and we are not going forward with this kind of whatever. So something we go fix, and we go hear Dr. Yumkela where he talk in parliament on similar, you know, the thing, because this constitution, if we not fix them, we go always there for tug of war. The tug of war of APC versus SLPP, because there be two big fish them where we get in Salone. So make a bring forth, I will give the honors to Mr. Ali. Make he explain to we a little bit why Mr. Aliu, the appointment of Mrs. Anne-Marie Baby Haddon, the wife of the current leader and chairman of the SLPP. So I'll pass on to you, make you kind of go inside President Beyond Aid. Let we see why make it choose that. So take go every small bit, because a lot of us are baffled, Sierra Leoneans, why and how. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, no, fair enough. My question is, why not? I mean, I throw it right back to you. I throw it right back to anyone who would dare to question the president's intelligence. Why not? Why not Mrs. Baby Anne-Marie Harding? Why not? And let me explain. First of all, the appointment of a cabinet member is purely at the discretion of the president, as long as they meet the constitutional requirements, which she happens to meet. She's an educated woman, formally educated. Again, let me go back to President Bio's history and in commitment in the manifesto. Can we have a quiet background, please? President Bio in manifesto, which was a commitment to make sure that women are represented in almost in every sphere of society. President Bio, the very first main political party in Sierra Leone for choose a female, Dr. Kadi Sise, as a running mate in 2012. President Biona, the first president, will choose the very first female Attorney General of Sierra Leone, Priscilla Schwartz. President Biona, the very first person, will declare a state of emergency because of the current threat against women in Sierra Leone. President Biona, the very first president, will make sure that we have established a court just for crimes against women and vulnerable children in Sierra Leone. President Bio is sitting in a place today in the history of a nation that is comprised of a lot of firsts, and Sierra Leoneans are excited about that. And the thing is, every gender-sensitive, non-governmental organizations in Sierra Leone, we care about women representation in public service, private service, intellectual circles, and every sphere of society are celebrating the rationale of President Bio. You know, if anybody raises the issue of nepotism, my first question would be, what is your definition of nepotism? How does it fit into the appointment of Mrs. Harding? If nepotism is the appointment of family members, is Mrs. Harding related to President Bio? The answer is no. There is no room, no space for an intellectual argument on nepotism here. So let's drop that right there. On the issue of political appointments, who do you appoint in your political circle or in your cabinet or as your leaders? People of your like persuasion, people who share your ideology, people who share your vision, people who understand the common purpose for which the party stands, people who are committed and dedicated to the party. And yes, President Bio has chosen a female, which Everybody should be excited, and all the female groups, them, Sierra Leone are excited, and the female caucus parliamentarians are excited, a leader of which is that of an SLPP woman from Kagboro Chiefdom, when Mrs. Kadi, I don't forget her name anyway, but all of these people are excited. Veronica Sise, sorry, is her name. Everybody is excited, and she put out a statement about that more women are selected. But the fact that she's youthful, the fact that she represents an ethnic group that also needs to be included, all of these are things we must celebrate. I honestly do not see a point to debate here, but I will throw it back to you and see if you can counter any of the points that I've made.
Madam Martha, he has made
yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Mr.
Yes,
Mr. Ali has made some great points. He talked about the first of woman. We need for put women in there. And what do you take from what you don't say? What do you want add or what do you want take away from Mr. Ali in presentation? We don't do of this.
Okay,
Mrs.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Madam Fadim.
Yes, please.
First of all, Mr. Emmanuel Ali, you say they describe within a nepotism. I'll just give him a quick definition here. It says the practice among those with power or influence of favoring relatives or friends, especially by giving them jobs. So please do not insult us by saying that nepotism only refers to family, it refers to friends. So the chairman of the SLPP in WEF, they are friends to with president. We've known that for years. I have worked with him 2012, so I know that. Even if I didn't work, even ordinary Sierra Leoneans walking the streets, no, by them being in the party, SLPP, they are all friends. So let us just clarify that. So what I want to do, Madam Fadima, you know what? I know say Mr. Sheila must go to crash to answer this. But I just want to say to Mr. Emmanuel, employing women, we are happy as women. Fadima and I, we're happy to have a woman in government position, any government position. We are not against that. We are talking about the process, and we are talking about our constitution, what it says about not employing people that are your family or your friends. That's what we are referring to here. That's what we're trying to clarify here. You know, if the chairman of the SLPP in West, you know, has been given a job, a lot of people are going to frown. Her husband is the chairman of the SLPP. You know, is there no other woman in that country that has the same qualification as this woman? That would be the legitimate question to ask. So you will forgive me if we are asking questions surrounding nepotism. Mr. Shillon, I really want you to pick up, because I should say you go able broaden the scope, you know, for us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Martha. Mr. Shillon, sir, you know, the two sides, their own case period only.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on your own opinion.
Well, I think there is point on both sides. First of all, let me go the direction of Mr. Ali may not be a lawyer, but I think he should have been one. Because he sure knows how to edge and deflect. And I think that's a talent, and I give him credit. But I am glad Ms. Musa came back with the definition of nepotism. So Mr. Ali only gave half definition of it, which was correct. Then Ms. Musa came and gave the other half definition of it, which includes friends, and particularly when it comes to finding a job. Yes. Now, Mr. Ali asked the question, why not? I think with respect to qualification, I haven't heard any argument for or against qualification, so I can only assume she's qualified for the job. And if so, we don't even have to question whether the president has the power to have appointed her. But what I think is bad, in we on profession, there's a thing there's a word we use all the time as the word appearance. And in law, appearance is presumed to be reality. Things do not necessarily have to be real, but if people perceive certain occurrences, certain actions as real, that's reality. In this case, the appearance just doesn't look good because of the position Dr. Harding holds at the party. I don't think, as a matter of public relations, if for no other reason, and for the issue of precedence, that it looks good to appoint in West to a ministerial position. I don't mean there's anything wrong with it. He has the power, the president has the power, and I cannot say he was wrong in doing that. But if I were an advisor to the president, I would have said, oh, Mr. President, it doesn't look good because people then go accuse you of nepotism, but you can find other places. And then the other argument with Mr. Ali raised about all the first of the president, I mean, that's what we hope for. We hope when you get a succeeding president, he can always start off where the other one left off. In that respect, I give President Bio a lot of credit to have been the first in all the things Mr. Ali named. Because maybe some of these things are way past due. But this is not an issue of gender, to me or understanding. I think it boils down to just nepotism. So the same question would have been raised had he appointed the brother or a friend of Dr. Harding. I think the same questions will have been raised. So I don't think this is a gender argument. I think no one is going to take away all the things that Mr. Ali list as the president having been the first in doing all those things. And I admire him for that. And I will even put him in the progressive category. But I think we have to be mindful of how we do things, how things will look, even if you can't just do things without regard to how you and your party will look. And Madam Fadima, you raised an issue about firing, this and that, about the president having the power, but I don't want to get into that because that's another argument of maybe we will discuss that later. But at this point, your understanding of what's happening and what the protest is about is not so much of a gender issue, and nobody's going to take issue with the president on that. I think it's the appearance of corruption, of nepotism, of appeasement, and even if that's not what the president intended, that's what it appears to be. And appearance is reality. That's
well, and thank you, Mr. Shillong. Ms. Fadima, if you don't mind, just because, let me just take exception to the additional element of the definition where Ms. Janet add friend, which I think, again, the standard used here to allow the word nepotism for fit in this case, in my opinion, is very, very slim and very thin. I mean, after all, almost everybody where the president appoint will fit the definition of a friend. So, I mean, how do we even make a distinction here? And so, you know, when the framers of the Constitution wrote the portion that includes nepotism, I believe, were giving the interpreters of the Constitution a very, very high bar for meet the definition of nepotism. So for it to be nepotistic, somebody has to be so woefully unqualified. Somebody has to have
qualifications, sir.
Excuse me, please. Let me finish. Somebody has to have been so woefully unqualified. Somebody had to be so clearly politically connected, with no capacity to carry out the functions of the public duties, to the point where the appearance itself would be warranted. But in this case, this is a party person. This is not somebody who get the qualification. This is not somebody who come up from another job. She was the deputy director of the Financial Intelligence Unit. I'm pretty sure they reviewed her performance. The president would have been pleased, and supervisors then would have been pleased. They would have seen that this person meet plenty other criteria, them, including being a female, including being a youthful person, including perhaps coming from a specific region, including fully in sync with the presidency agenda and vision. And all of this, in my opinion, is overwhelming enough to override any appearance of nepotism. I mean, the word friends, everybody the president appoints has to be a friend. So I think that's a very weak foundation to lean on if we were bringing in that element of the definition of nepotism.
Okay, can we try cronyism?
Let me go in quick with Mr. Emmanuel. Mr. Emmanuel, Mr. Emmanuel, please don't go there, because if you go there, I can bring up, you are good in definition. You go to the Webster dictionary and brings out definition of words. So, Madam Matarid, according to the dictionary, that is the meaning. And you have stuck with meanings before. You have used those kind of thing before. So don't say the meaning of that is vague. Everybody's a friend. The thing say friend, and friend is a friend is a friend. And Mr. Shillong goes there and says perception is reality. Perception, the way people go see him. The way people go see and say it overcompensate Dr. Haddon, that make it go take a wife for put another position there. You know waiting to say. So Mr. Go ahead, Mr. Shillong, sir.
Oh no, I was just going to say, Mr. Ali keeps going back to qualification. Nobody questions that. Nobody questions her fitness for the position. Again, this is not a gender argument, all of which is okay. But I think the issue being raised, and I think Mr. Ali can chisel the word nepotism in any way, which I think is a smart move, but the definition doesn't change. Friends come, our friendship come within the definition of nepotism. But here is the point we make, the generalized statement that everybody the president appoints is a friend. Well, I don't really think Mr. Ali believes that. I believe, without me having any factual basis, but I can almost challenge you on that he makes a lot of appointments of people recommended to him who are not his friends. I don't have any doubt about that.
How do we know Mrs. Harding is a friend? Is his friend?
I just said. I am almost certain that not everybody he appoints.
Yes.
At least you can convince we and at least come down the list for say every appointee of the president are friends to him. But as a matter of general knowledge, I'm sure every president will recommend certain people he's never met. That other people in his cabinet or in his surrounding.
Well, this is why this is not an issue, actually. It really is not.
An issue because of the way you carry the definition. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I didn't define the word. She defined it, and I had issues with the word friends. I mean, I don't really think, anybody would be able to substantially make an argument that this meets the definition of nepotism. I don't think. When the framers of the Constitution, let me just finish. Let me learn, please. Let me learn. I really need to learn. Again, there's a dictionary definition and there's a legal definition. I think the constitutional interpretation of the word nepotism, in my opinion, does not fit in this category. We can use dictionary definition and say that's what you're talking about. But in this case, we're looking at what the framers of the Constitution intended in terms of restricting the idea of appointing people that may not be fit for office. So let us not use a flimsy, unsubstantial definition to compare it to a legal and constitutional definition of what nepotism is.
Madam Mata,
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Ali, I want to respectfully say to you that anybody will get LLB, as Mr. Shillong will tell you, he's been here 40 years ago. I'm not even a member for Go Law School, sir. So that's why I go to him for backup. What I want to say to you is that when we talk about a definition, we get the ordinary definition.
Why don't we address the audience? Let's do that.
No, Mr. Ali, it's okay. You were the one speaking just now.
But I do not address you, though.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, because you are trying to disregard me. That's why you don't want to address me. But I respect you.
Okay,
I'm going to come to you.
Let's just stick to the point here.
Okay, so yeah. So the definition, if you don't like nepotism, maybe you like cronyism, because then that says that people we get when in a position like look when Mr. Harding is in position, he has authority as the chairman of the SLPP, and then to just try for Madam Hadima don't say this Monday in a position outside, if they go by waiting happen in 2015, where the VP was removed from office, and then to get rid of him totally, they took him out of the APC party. He didn't have a party, and our constitution says you must belong to a party. So what Madam Fadima is trying to say here is that if you look at it from every angle, Mr. Harding is in a power, he gets the authority for bringing this president candor overnight. That is to say, we can't remove him.
Okay, we're losing Madam Martha.
I got to respond to that. That is woefully inaccurate.
Okay.
No, hold on, please. We're just saying what's on the street.
Yeah.
Yes, we're saying what's on the street. That's what we are addressing here. That we are saying is that Prince Harding is in the power of authority to bring this president down to his heels overnight if he chooses to do so. You know. So what we are saying is, if you are denying that the deputy minister is not a friend to the president, then it will mean that you don't really understand the way Prince Harding and President Madabio have been, you know, there's this closeness. We know this because I worked with them. So I know, you know, when they were campaigning, they were all together. Can you now say they are not friends in the meaning of the word friends? Somebody that you know, somebody that you relate to, but it's not your family?
Okay, first of all, that's not what I'm saying. I didn't say that.
We'll go by constitution. We'll talk about constitution. You know, Mr. Ali, I want to make this is the general understanding of a lot of Sierra Leoneans, and I'm sure Mr. Shillong will address this issue. The constitution is silent on certain issues because the constitution, the framers of the constitution, they rely on we, the general people, and forget sense. You know, to every area then go address. You know, if they tell you say the constitution say you're not for practice nepotism, you understand what that word means. You know what it means. The person where you're not for employ your friend, or you're not for employ your family. People within close quarters. This is what that friend definition is talking about. People within close quarters. Like when they say in another area, who is your neighbor? Your neighbor is not just the person who lives at the end of the street. Your neighbor is anybody within your vicinity. So if you want to spread the word friend, then you are now saying to us, everybody where the president we don't employ, where you don't put na power, is forbidden, which will be Mr. Shillong say it could be virtually impossible. But then we cannot outrule that. But we are talking about friends, people within in quarters, neat quarters, where sabi the president sabi them. You know, that's what we're talking about. We are talking about he could have employed another person. About gender, no sir, we accept that. We appreciate the idea that he is bringing women into this government.
Okay, so Auntie Fadima, please, I think.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Ali.
Yeah,
we have to have the conversation. Let's have the conversation.
Mr. Shillong, please, may I please indulge? But listen, Miss Musa made a lot of misstatements then. Number one, not to Prince Harding appoint in work as deputy minister, not the president.
I never said that, sir.
Well, we're saying family members appointing family members or friends. So now we get that very clear. Prince Harding not appointing work. The president appoints. That is number one. Yes, number two.
Mr. Ali, not can we go back? We need to go forward, sir. We understand what you said. Let's move on.
Give him time, please. Let him finish. Please, sir. Give him time. Let him finish.
Okay. I really did not think I was here to debate Ms. Martha. I was here to engage the public. But let's continue. So here's the thing. This misperception, this theory that is being cooked, that the head of the party gets power to remove a president from the party and therefore has a hold on him, it is totally preposterous. It is so far-fetched. First of all, if you make that assumption in that theory, the assumption also has to be true that you do not have a clue
as to what process it takes in the SLPP to suspend or even remove somebody from the party. It tells you that you have no clue that the chairman himself does not have that power. So let me not even entertain the conversation because for me it's pointless.
Mr. Ali, I will make you finish, sir.
That was an APC thing. You can go back to the APC constitution and deal with APC constitution. Do not confuse this with SLPP constitution. Okay. There are two different elements.
Yeah, can you explain to us the process? Because what you do, they say so. What you do, they bring that up, and we therefore bring them to the floor. You there for let we understand the SLPP. So now you say that is not part of SLPP. That is APC. Now then your Lord and the Unayo not say none of that because if you don't belong to a party, the Sierra Leone Constitution say you for belong to a party. For make you be a vice president, president, or member, or whatever it is, you should belong to a party. So then now you say SLPP is not. They're not going like that. Can you just, in a brief summary, tell me the process for say for a show we will not know and we Sierra Leoneans they will not know say the leader and chairman of SLPP who is presently Dr. Harding don't have a single man not go hold we country to ransom by waiting as APC been do to President Madabio. Waiting on your own process to remove somebody from office because you say the leader don't have that power. So
absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
And everybody understands that.
I will. And if people are picking up theories and peddling it, in my opinion, they should take the time to understand whether it's a feasible theory. But in the Sierra Leone People's Party, for one to have, for one to raise a motion to expel or suspend somebody from the party, one has to have been guilty of conduct unbecoming or conduct contravening the ideals, philosophies, and principles of the party. You have to have done something so egregious that at a minimum, 3 party members, 3 top executive members of the party would have to sign a petition to even initiate the process of an initial hearing. After that, it goes through different committees and processes and finally leads to the National Executive Committee, which is the NEC, which will vote after having you come and explain to yourself in a fair system, and even that there are processes to appeal and all that. But the theory is so preposterous that if anyone would maintain that a chairman of a party go hold the president ransom, now for that he appoint, I mean, I don't know, it's not feasible.
We have seen it, we have seen similar situations.
APC. That is APC.
There is a part of the constitution that says for you to be president or vice president in Sierra Leone constitution, you have to be a member of a party. So that's why people then throw that theory out, and you now they can enlighten we with the SLPP party.
And the Australian Constitution also says it lists exactly how a president can be removed. That is not one process. It lists exactly what constitutes the crimes that would warrant the removal of a president. So I don't even understand the connection.
Okay, Mr. Shillong, sir, can we bring you into this conversation? We don't deal with this before. You were not part of us, but we don't deal with the constitution before. And I don't know if they say the requirements for be a president or vice president, you for be a Sierra Leonean, you for be, and get different criteria than where they require. I think it's all on the board. And we been see where with APC that arguments have been come on where they pull Sam Sumana as vice president. Because first of all, waiting and do they remove him from the party. And because he does not belong to a political party, therefore, he was taken out, say he not belong to a party, so he is not qualified to be the vice president of the Republic of Sierra Leone. So people then come up with a theory and it's out there. And it is good to put everything on the table for let we understand what's in the go on. And Mr. Aliu, don't talk, say, then they do their own different. They get a process with different. And we also know, say, if a member of parliament when and then a parliament, therefore vote according to party line, what in party mean. Because we see a C4C confusion where they get right now, where they go on, right now. Mr. Lamina or whatever, when I've been the majority leader in whatever, we see right now when they say they don't pull up from a position because vote according to what in the party wants. And therefore, that affects the NEP and affects so right now. So we cannot ignore their issue then because it's something that is going on. And we have to fix it to move forward because the talk of war is pulling us apart. So Mr. Shillong, sir, make I bring you in as a lawyer, as an expert. What in your opinion or what in your take on the constitution of Sierra Leone, but this particular section where they put inside it? What do you think? Do we need a reform of our constitution?
Without a doubt, but I agree with Mr. Ali in many ways. That first of all, it try to make a distinction between our APC to go about them business, our SLPP to go about them business. And I think I appreciate that distinction there. For let we all know, say no to the same. Because I have to say on this program, at the end of the day, we all want to leave this program, including the listeners, having learned something new that we never knew when we came on board. So with that, I greatly appreciate that. But I also want Mr. Ali to appreciate the fact. Mr. Ali, I'm not trying to address you in particular, so you don't think you're being ganged upon. But I also want you to appreciate the fact that people thinking the way they're thinking, they have reasonable basis for that because they've seen that happen on the APC side. So it's a good relief when you say, well, APC different from SLPP, because people assume, and I think reasonably so, that there is ability of the party to get rid of a president. So by you shedding light on that, I think it gives everybody a sigh of relief that no, it doesn't go like that. Of course, there are many of us who felt the removal of Sam Sumana from, you use the word preposterous, that was exactly what it was. I mean, the fact that APC or President Nkrumah thought he could have done that, and in fact, had judges who have not contributed a single thing to the jurisprudence of Sierra Leone by giving such an erroneous, short-sighted decision that the president had the authority to do that, when the vice president was not an appointee. He was elected by the people. And the Constitution was almost silent to that. But as a matter of common sense, if he was elected, why would the president have had the power to have sacked him? But hey, the danger about that, and if there is any such thing, I think if we care anything about the country, no political party should deprive a country of a president who was elected by the people. Okay, so President Bio is not in power of having voted by only SLPP people. There may have been some disgruntled people who were not necessarily SLPP who voted for him. There may have been some non-aligned people who are neither APC nor SLPP who voted for him. So I think it's a mistake when people think if you are APC, you're in power. You are now APC people and vote for you. So the president is the president of the people. So I don't think there should never be any constitution who will forgive a political party that power to just fire and sack a president. So I think unless they try for copy what in South Africa they do when they get rid of Mbeki, when the party, the ANC get rid of him. But that is a very bad precedent. If we're going to copy something, let's copy something that is good for the country and that will survive the test of time. The short-sighted legislations or imposition of certain things is not good for us. It's not healthy. Now, someone make reference to the 1991 Constitution. Well, it has a lot of flaws, a whole lot of flaws. And in my own humble opinion, the reason being, the Constitution was written by lawyers who do not necessarily have any idea what a Constitution ought to be. Because most of the guys who were on the panel Dr. Abdullahi Konneh, with all due respect, I think one of the authors, if not the author of that, he's never been a constitutional lawyer. He's never been a constitutional scholar. There is nothing wrong. Nobody expects a lawyer to know everything. That's like a doctor. I don't expect a doctor to be everything in medicine. So if somebody wants you, an MD, for do brain surgery, I think there is dignity in saying, you know what, not a specialization, Andy, but I'm glad you trust me enough to make a judgment. I go look for Dr. such and such or some doctors who can do the work. I think that's the disposition we will take in Sierra Leone. When you are called upon as a lawyer, now, I use myself as an example. If you ask me to draw the Constitution of Sierra Leone, I don't have a clue. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but I have some basic understanding of constitutional law, that they went about it wrong, that the content of some of the Constitution should have never been there. There is a lot of stuff in the Constitution that should be statutory. A Constitution is primarily restraint on the government, with respect to the protection of the people, not the other way around. So we got it all backwards. And then to worsen it, we turn around and put in our Constitution, say, any issue of constitutional right can only be raised at the Supreme Court level, which I find to be ridiculous and senseless. Because right from the moment when the person is charged with a crime, his constitutional right attaches. So how can you say he cannot raise that in the magistrate court? He can't raise that in the high court. He can't raise the issue in a court of appeals. Only if he has the means to get his case up to the Supreme Court that the issue can be raised. What sense does it make? There are instances in which original jurisdiction involving constitutional matter, the Supreme Court can get that. Like where you get the city council or two towns get dispute of a legal matter. Yeah, it makes sense. Make it go straight to the Supreme Court for expediency. So there is a lot wrong with the system. So we just can't keep, we need to go back to the drawing board. There is a lot of defects in the 1991 Constitution. And unless we do that, we can continue to debate these things, because almost everything in the Constitution, they were politically motivated. And if those that were not politically motivated are just short-sighted. And they were done by people, and I stand corrected. If somebody can tell me those who wrote the 1991 Constitution, they are known to be constitutional lawyers, they are known to be scholars, constitutional scholars, they are known to be people who've published articles in constitutional law. I like to know. I stand corrected, but I doubt it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Madam Martha, you wanna make a point here or come in with something?
Yes, ma'am.
Two gentlemen not talk off.
Okay, yes. When I made talk about the Constitution, about the removal and all of that, I was making reference to what is on the street. Madam Fadima, you get that?
Yes.
No, so? Yes. So we waiting will be the when Konneh was waiting. They go on the woman waiting at the street where now in people and they say that this make this person don't behave so. So in actual fact, I was making a reference to that for bring Mr. Ali in for able for explain to we say well on the contrary, that is not how it works. It's not like I am so ignorant that I don't know how they go remove anybody as a party member. These things are online, you can go and read them, but the people on the street and APC are the same way they do on SLPP. Well, when you look at that setting there, we needed clarification. So therefore, and even before we come on air, we had asked the question, Yes, so when Mr. Ali, the answer is not answering to me, it's answering to the public for educate them. The men go, no, say no. The APC get their own version, the SAPP get their own version, although both parties border on the line of 75% of the members inside the party for vote with the chairman for pull that person. That are this commonality between both parties. But it's good that he's here today, able to explain this to the people out there. The people are able to understand. So this rumor of saying Mr. Harding get a hold over the president, because Mr. Harding get hold over the party, and so we have a clear court understanding. Say this is how things are rolling in the party. Madam Fadima, I'm very happy with everything that we said so far.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. We can forget this conversation. And then the time people are trying for the talk Creole, because the people they want the people they understand. We know we all get the Queen, but we get for speak the language. Sometimes we can use one word. Some people get for go Google and not for all man, So now we try for the language, because now with the broadcast na free tongue, and with the giving the radio then a free tongue, the people they understand. So now let we go. We don't exhaust that side, Mr. Ali. Do you have anything else before we move forward, sir?
Well, very quickly again, I don't think any constitution in the world where everybody satisfied with. I mean, I can cite you to the fact that if we do a survey of the amount of times that the United States Supreme Court has a unanimous ruling, perhaps that would be less than a quarter of the time that they actually offer opinion. And so, again, half the time is 5 and 4, maybe 6 and 3. But people as long as the Constitution is a framework to try to understand the laws of the land, there is going to be variances in interpretations. And our Constitution is no exception to that. Notwithstanding, I think the president follows the Constitution. The parliament tries its best to carry
we get a small hold up.
Oh, okay.
We get a small hold up. Maybe something happened.
Understanding of what the original language of the Constitution is. And again, I apologize. I don't believe so we will ever get a time in Sierra Leone where we will get a constitution, whether it was written by constitutionalists. I don't even think Hamilton and others, many of those were constitutional lawyers. But I think we can appreciate the Constitution for what it is. If there is need for review, I'm pretty sure the public has the right also to offer such bills in Parliament for initiate a process of reviewing certain portions of the Constitution. That is actually part of the process where the public can actually offer to sponsor a bill that would abridge, that would maybe take out or add stuff or to the Constitution. And I think amend it, we can continue the process. But to you, Miss Harvey.
Thank you so much. Mr. Salone, anything else, sir? No?
No, we'll go.
Okay.
Mr. Adim, I just want to say something quickly before we go.
Yes,
we Constitution, anybody who don't read constitutional law will not say the Constitution wants a mix-up, box-up interpretation. They want a specific interpretation as intended by Parliament. Yesterday, I've been finding one article online about the American, and somebody writes about statutory interpretation. And what Mr. Shillon made say was, if you're not a draftsman, we don't read Constitution and you go train for write constitutional. For write the Constitution, because the Constitution are a guideline, a book. We carry all the laws them where they guide we, so that the president or whoever then they in authority not go abuse the ordinary citizens of that country. So this book itself ought to be written by people that will understand what it mean, what in the book itself mean, and the powers and with this book they provide. And when Mr. Shillon said just now, it is written there to protect the people, to prohibit the president from doing certain things to the citizens. So that make when it comes to statutory interpretation, not within a teachery. You get instruments of interpretation. So when you get one person, they say the Constitution mean this. Another day they say it mean that. There's a whole lot of interpretation when all right. And all is due to what Mr. Shillon say. Then get a loose terminology, the words them we can amount to or different meaning, you know, so that make it very important. You know, where Mr. Shilon say, therefore go back into the constitution and bring in the people away Sabipa constitution, and he writes this book here so that we get one interpretation. And what will not satisfy, like in England, we go to Hansard. You know, we go look at the Hansard and say, what did this particular word in the constitution mean? Because it creates confusion here. But like what Mr. Shilon say, we get for wait till we go to Supreme Court. For how long will the person write all the the person write before they reach to Supreme Court? You know, so we are saying our constitution needs the need for look an overhaul. The need for bring people and come look from start to finish and say there's so many things wrong here. Let's fix it.
Thank you so much. Because we have to fix it because there are many interpretation of this constitution. Everybody they look at from political lens. We know that's not Sierra Leone, so we're not going for make it otherwise, you know, we know that. But if they're able to fix some for where it could be one interpretation, the words are clear. Because when you left word there, it vague, wide, everybody can put meaning inside it. And I think that's the problem. And they say we don't get a one where we don't come up with a revised constitution, but they're not bring her into play and use them for the good of things. But we know they look into political lens, and everything that we do in Sierra Leone, we know saying a political lens. The world is like that, but Sierra Leone now we concerned, but we know saying from a political lens. Then they look all things. So now let me come to the other appointee where have been confirmed by Parliament, Mr. Mohamed Konneh. Mr. Mohamed Konneh, the talk of him, we will listen to a tape where Konneh Yunkela play. He's a very honorable Sierra Leonean, a man who don't do 20 years of corruption cases or whatever. I don't work internationally and nationally. Get a very good background resume. It looking good on paper. Everything looks good. And we already got what happened in the Parliament last week. And this is the same thing Mr. Gilles on the talk say, the constitution is so broad, the word is so thin, and everybody interpret the way we feel for a political according to a political agenda. And we know that. And we see what happen in Parliament. We see the draw, we see Konneh Yunkela where he talk, and I talk, say we get for fix, because there are cases, and this man now the electoral commissioner now it'll take Infaji what's it Ali in place. And we know for the longest time we electoral commissioner free talk know they work right. We know say they are fraud. We know say there is election malpractice. We know that from where small. We know that. Because some people then go say unopposed, then go say I vote now, so I go vote for that neighbor inside that region. We know from always small than they Panam. We know. Then they stuff ballot. We know all the problems of Sierra Leone. But they don't put a Sierra Leonean there where every Sierra Leonean they hope say it can't do the right thing, it can't do regardless of party affiliation, of regardless of waiting, we go work for the people of Sierra Leone, because election for be the voice of the people. Now, but the problem, the contention here, the bone where we people in the pick now, for this Fisher say, this man be done there now office where he work, he get money from the post of the government, where he supposed for me not retire for 1 year. The constitution say that. And we see what will be happening to APC member them, where this election, them get for pull a whole bunch of them because of that clause day. So now APC and some other party, or the other party that were there in the parliament, then the team challenge say, then get for go to court because this man is not qualified. Just like how, this is what I'm talking about, the tug of war, the tonangi, the pulling of how should we go forward. Mr. Konneh has been appointed as the neck boss. We hear the noise in the parliament. Let me listen first to Konneh Yunkela, then I will come to me guess them. But the lines are going to be open. When I join in, feel free for joining and join the conversation. And let me listen to Dr. Konneh Yunkela in your case where he put across the parliament, where he say he agree with the appointment.
Our party is on record in this parliament to take our own independent opinions, our own evaluations, and our own due diligence. And that is what we chose to do in this case. We speak for the NGC in totality. We took our time to examine Section 32, particularly 32.4, A and B. We spent a lot of time looking at 76B. We set up a team of 5 lawyers, and my lawyers are very tough. Most times they disagree. In this case, I insisted on a legal brief. In this case, they believe, that's their firm legal opinion, that 76B, which is the most contentious issue, in their opinion, does not apply in this case. We speak as NGC. I spent hours with those lawyers. In different debates. We organized Zoom calls with some others. We looked at the politics of this position. We looked at the legality. 76B, it's been read before. We are persuaded by the last line. Last line of 76B says, officer or employee, I quote, officer or employee within 12 months prior to the date on which he seeks to be elected to parliament. We are persuaded that unless you're clairvoyant, you cannot know that you will be appointed 12 months hence. We've also seen precedents where others resign before just being appointed. Now, there was an exchange here that indeed, if we have disagreement on interpretation of the Constitution, we should go to the Supreme Court. I fully support that. This is not the only contentious issue we've had here. We've had the issue of security of tenure, of people appointed, central bank governor, anti-corruption commission, and so on. We've had issues of the Human Rights Commission. There are so many issues we want to take to the Supreme Court for interpretation. So I dare say, Mr. Deputy Speaker, many of us want to do it, but we don't trust the judiciary. There are other cases sitting there. Nothing happened. We've asked for simple interpretations that take 24 hours in other countries. Nothing happened. Not even the judges empaneled. Why do I make that a point? It is not just the parliament or the executive branch or the neck that will make our democracy work. In fact, the most critical institution is the judiciary. This is why today, we NGC, we've submitted a 4-page letter to the Attorney General calling for judiciary reform. Our democracy cannot work without an effective judiciary that can interpret the conflicts between the executive arm and the parliament when we have disagreements. It will not function. So since, even in this case, I commend Honorable I.B. Kago for saying that they will pursue in the Supreme Court. We'll be happy. We'll be happy to see a judgment, a decision that will clarify these issues going forward for the rest of eternity. Mr. Speaker, the NGC will support this candidate. We support this candidate for the following reasons. And we raised our questions during the interview. He has 20 years of experience chasing fraud He's been chasing fraud and crime here in Sierra Leone and internationally. We hope he recognizes that we expect that he will use that experience to clean our electoral processes of fraud. So we do it with our eyes open, that background in fraud and crime will help us clean our electoral process. We are victims of fraud in electoral systems. Number two, the new commissioner, when he is finally appointed by this parliament, will receive 103 recommendations from election observers for the 2018 elections. 103. It confirms that some things were wrong with that election. He has guaranteed in the interview that he'll take a look and speedily implement. I hope we in the opposition will hold him to that. That we will organize and ensure that that system is refined. Point number three, we are NGC, we are not in government, we are in the opposition, we are an independent party, speaking with our own mind, based on our own analysis. So that's the position I'm speaking here.
Okay, me people, Dr. Konneh Yumkela, the NGC, one of the parliamentarians, we talking to parliament and he approved the appointment. He vote for the Mr. Konneh, and now we pass on to the panel. Are they sit down? Are they watching now? Because this is the brains of the mind, the mind of the brains here, or whatever they can play now. The law, the lawyers, the barristers, the potential lawyers among us. Let we discuss the conversation. And like I said before, it is the tug of war between and all these words written in the Constitution, and we don't see earlier. We don't put up who that qualify and waiting to disqualify the thing. Mr. Shilonzas, you as the legal mind, let go to you for whatever. Let go to you for make you explain to me what you get from all what you for and waiting that the issue na yaso where we the pull APC and SLPP then they pull for this thing APC then they're gonna call.
Well, basically, from my own perspective, oh, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. From my own perspective, I have not seen anything that disqualifies this person's appointment, the person at all. And because we're not questioning the president's power for appointment, I have not seen anything that says he is disqualified. I think some of the argument being raised has to do with, of course, I get a lot of problems with the way some of the wordings in the Constitution, because I see a lot of vagueness, but that's not the issue here. But with respect to this person being qualified to be appointed as commissioner, I haven't found anything wrong based upon the way they get the law. Because the thing is one thing if we argue about the reasonableness of a law. It's another thing if we argue whether the president violates the law or has done something beyond what he's allowed to do. So I stand corrected, but I think, by all indication, it seems like he's qualified. I don't know. Ms. Janet might have a different view, you know.
Okay. Madam Janet, Mr. Shilon bring you into the conversation. Do you have a different view of waiting for contention here?
You may not be getting.
Okay, maybe we get a little issue. Mr. Alisa, Dr. Yumkela, which in you take on the argument and the pull back and forth between these people in Parliament?
Well, I mean, Dr. Yumkela endorsed the candidate, the presidency appointment, and the presidency appointment was confirmed by the Parliament, and now he's the People's Commissioner. I would have preferred for Madam Janet for making argument, which I will not make for her. But at the end of the day, if the presidency appointment and the Parliament in confirmation is challenged in a court, the Supreme Court or the High Court, sorry, go finally make their decision. And I think Sierra Leoneans, them, as we did on this show, for help them for understand within Supreme Court or High Court interpretations of the Constitution. I think people now they understand, say, the interpretation of the Constitution has never been black or white. Hardly do you have a unanimous opinion, especially on languages that may be ambiguous, and it is not unusual for constitutional languages to be ambiguous, sometimes deliberately. So it depends on the judges then. Besides the fact that courts are sometimes overtly corrupt, as in my opinion we saw in the Samsumana versus Anes Kuroma case. It was a very subversive and perverted justice. I think all Sierra Leoneans agree on that. But we can also agree, say, if we constitutions are interpreted either as, if you're not a judge, or you may see it as a strict, you could be a strict constitutionalist, which means you look precisely at the wording of the Constitution and you say, this now I believe say it mean, and I will go by. Or you go be a loose constructionist, where you go say, okay, this now the words say, but constitutions are malleable and they should meet and fit the times and the era. Or you can be an originalist, where you look at the word and apply the original meaning of the word to the Constitution, or perhaps you even look at the founder's intent and apply the intent of the founder. So I think the public need to understand that these are the parameters around which High Court judges interpret constitutions. As long as they fall within any of those, you may disagree, but those are acceptable boundaries upon which constitutions are interpreted. Notwithstanding the Kuroma court, in the case of Sumana versus Kuroma, where I think almost every Sierra Leonean say Kuroma had no authority for fire Sumana. He did, like Mr. Honorable Salone said, he did not appoint him. He did not elect him. The people elected him. There are guidelines upon which you go fire correction, you go remove. Let us be very clear. The Parliament has a process through which a sitting vice president can be impeached and removed. He did not do that. He just got rid of him. So I believe, say, the man is qualified, the president was right, the Parliament was right, and if anyone is aggrieved, I believe they can go to the High Court, and the High Court would make the decision.
Thank you. Madam Martha.
Yes,
I
in the room. Yes.
Yeah, I know say you there on the other side. I know say you now one of the people where things say the Constitution say the man not qualified because of the word of the Constitution that he was an employee. So please, I want to let you give you take. But before you give you take, I want to answer my brother, Mr. Fode Morris. I love you, my brother. But you say playing KKY, he say playing the clip of KKY, whose party supported the nomination without playing the clip on the main opposition APC party was opposed to the said nomination is a big mistake by VOS. It is unfair to your viewers and to the APC. Mr. Forde, you know my number, you have my number. Please send me the opposition, the own, and I go play them for you. Please, I will do that because I don't want to feel say with a pick on anybody, but that was the tape that was handy, you know, at the time where we needed to put everything together. So if you have it, send it to me and I will play it, or you can call in and defend your party, because we've been supposed to have an APC person here, but at the end they turn us down. So don't think we left anybody out because, you know, so Madam Martha, please go ahead.
Yes, Madam Fadima, thank you so very much. And before I go straight to that question regarding why I feel to say the man not qualify, I just want to go quickly on this statutory interpretation business, the Constitution and the rules of statutory interpretation. There are rules there, definitely. You know, just a week one morning, the judge decides to say, well, now this rule now I rely on, that this rule I get for use and whatever. You know, there are clear guidelines. When we say here that the Constitution, we don't want precarious wording. We don't want wording where they get different meaning. We go confuse the people where the law apply to. I think there is a good reason why the Constitution decides to, well, let we introduce guidelines and for make sure we get a particular line of understanding. You know, so I want anyway, Madam Fadima, let me go on to this question of the public office. I think I don't read within the APC leader, Mr. Ba, Honorable Ba, say Cherry Coco is say within make agree with Mr. Konneh in appointment is because Mr. Konneh na a public officer. That is to say, he was the director of something before the employer, and he say the waiting the rule say the rule is that you not for don't get money from the public office if you don't left that position there for a year before they go elect you. I mean, sorry, they go appoint you as to this office as a neck boss, something of that nature, and then obviously. Konneh Yomkela in argument. I think as I listen a little bit more and more, I understand what in Konneh Yomkela try for Dunaya. Konneh Yomkela is looking at the end where he says it is not the fault of Mr. Konneh or Konneh. I don't know what's in particular name now.
Yeah.
Don't escape me. Konneh, I think Konneh. Yes, it is not Mr. Konneh's fault for made an employer for into this position, because in actual fact, it is this onus lies on the president to know that you can only employ somebody to that position there without they out of government work for 1 year before an appointment becomes legitimate. So it is that area. Then look and say, well, if the president don't appoint this man and we don't get other contentious appointments in the past and we're not able to deal with them, you know, well, let me just approve this man. I think you can't not just want to waste government's time and stuff like that, but also it take into consideration, you know, the past things that were happening in the past. So well, even we ACC boss, there was a problem there in terms of tenure. You know, they appointed all the same. They remove Ade Macaulay, where in tenure not be done. In no go north side, you know, but he said at the end of it all, he said ain't happy if the APC people want go court. Yes, we happy for that. You know, maybe we could get interpretation of this particular section where where contentious at this moment. And I think that's the wise thing, a wise move. Let us now have the Supreme Court can interpret this section for we to say yes, the president we fully understand this section and he go ahead and employ this man. If that is the case, then the court will tell we. But at this moment, we just decide, say, well, let this man go forward, you know. And I think there are quarters, in certain quarters, people in the way they grumble here and grumble there. But I just want to go to this point of saying that if it comes to any blame, this blame lies squarely on the president himself, that the president, they flout the constitution, the rules where govern the constitution. I think to say that's where this lies squarely. It's nothing to do with Mr. Konneh, of course. Mr. Konneh, if he wanted to be an upright member of society, he would have said, no, I'm not going to accept this appointment because I've been there in office for the last 1 year, so that requirements they are not fit, are not able to pass the requirements they. But also, we got to look. This is the man who got left in job with again, just because the president for know what they do. So he relies on the president's understanding of the constitution for able for employer. So, Madam Fadima, again, as I talk to you, so somebody in a messenger where they writes to me, where they say to me, the person just said to me, this whole argument, it's about a government that is bent on flouting the rules of the constitution. It's on a left for wasting our time because this is not the first time he has done it. He will keep doing it until such a time when, and even if when I go Supreme Court, his position here is the lawyer here in the United Kingdom is following this, and he says, even the Supreme Court then says I'm not going to be so bold enough. But let's see, maybe let's give them the chance. It's about say they go delay until 2023 reach, and there's nothing else to come back with. So that's my position. And I'm really happy that you have friends who are on the messenger who are writing here because they necessarily listen. It's a very interesting day today. Thank you, Mr. Salone. Somebody make a comment here and say they're really happy to have you here to create the balance, as you are apolitical, and also to educate the nation about what it is that we constitution lack.
Okay, Madam Martha, if I hear you clearly,
yes,
you say that President Bio in fault. No talking for the Creole where people understand.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're saying that President Bio in fault because he know what in the Constitution say, but he refuse for adhere to the Constitution.
Yes, ma'am.
So he pick somebody anyway. He don't care. So Mr. Emmanuel, I pass on to you for defend the president, for defend the appointment of the president. You waiting, Madam Martha say, you waiting, Mr. Salone say, what do you say, sir?
It's a really very simple defense. I mean, the president make an appointment. We have, I think, 124 sitting parliamentarians. I think 112 and then plus 12 paramount chiefs. They have, by a resounding majority, endorsed the presidential appointment. These are the voices of the people. These are the chosen representatives of the nation. If they have agreed that the president was right, was wise, was constitutional, and as a matter of fact, the parliament wrote the law. The parliament wrote the law. The parliament is the custodian of that constitution, even though the court interprets it, but we know it's the parliament that writes laws. If they have endorsed it, I mean, it's really a very easy argument. What is there to say? What is there to say?
Can I come in?
Yes, sir, Mr. Salone.
All right. Listening to Ms. Musa, it appears as if Dr. Yumkela, in reason way in Guy for going along with the nomination, to me, it's an abdication of irresponsibility. It's not his job to say, let us not waste time. He owes a duty to the country and the constituency. If he thinks the last paragraph of the thing where he quotes, the section where he quotes, that although, because by implication, it seems that that's what he's arguing, that although he may not be qualified, Mr. Konneh may not be qualified by reason of the fact that he was a government officer, a very loosely worded word we may not understand, because everybody who works for the government is a government officer. So I don't even know why that is in the Constitution so loosely. But so because the doctor claimed that Mr. Konneh cannot be held responsible, and I don't think anybody is holding him responsible because he didn't appoint himself, because of the fact that he may not have been aware of the fact that because take a year. Look over, say this 1 year thing. First of all, let me backtrack a little bit. This 1 year requirement is so unnecessary. I mean, unless one can argue the reasonableness of that condition there. Why should someone have stopped receiving money as a public officer for 1 year? So if I were an ordinary police officer, or if I were something at that level, I consider myself a government officer and I want to run for parliament, I should go a whole year not receiving money. I don't even understand the reasonableness of the 1 year requirement. I think that can be eliminated and the law will still be good. But what I don't agree with Dr. Yomkela about, in they say, although yes, that's in violation of that section there, nonetheless, let's go ahead and confirm this man. And I think that's wrong. It's just like the law. If the law gets 5 elements or 3 elements for make the offense an offense,
Yes.
you can't say because 2 elements you get and the other one you don't get, and therefore. So what do you mean to understand, Dr. Yomkela? It shouldn't matter to him that this gentleman, Mr. Konneh, is not. Dr. Yomkela, I get one duty only in the parliament. In duty is, if the law is not met, if all the elements of the law are not met,
Yes.
to vote against. That is, I'm being careful with my argument now. That is not to say I'm in agreement with the question when they raise about the man in qualification. I think, in my view, he qualifies. I don't even see the reasonableness of the 1 year requirement. But Dr. Yomkela plays a different role for me in Una. They represent in a member of parliament. So he cannot just brush aside, say, well, although he not meet this requirement, well, I'll confirm it anyway. I think that's an abdication of irresponsibility, in my view. 2, the fact that the majority agree doesn't make the majority right. The majority could be wrong. The minority could be right at times. Let me tell the audience about the way we court system set up, which I think is also one of the problems. We keep talking about the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court in Sierra Leone. But in reality, we don't have a Supreme Court. We don't get a body of judges who are Supreme Court justices as such, like we get in the United States. The Chief Justice is the guy or is the person who has most of the authority to appoint people to constitute the Supreme Court. So we don't, like in the United States, we'll get 9 sitting Supreme Court justices who are permanent Supreme Court justices. That's not the way Sierra Leone is set up. It would be good if it is set up that way, because when you get judges who are called to hear cases who are not appellate judges, and because the talent vary, you can get a judge who's excellent as a trial judge, knows how to rule on quick motions, but when it gets to Supreme Court argument, it's more in depth, it's more intellectual. You really need intellectual, judicial, legal heavyweights to hold those positions. We don't have that in Sierra Leone. So we get we get in writing Supreme Court, but we not get Supreme Court as such, based upon how I understand it to be.
Okay. Madam Martha.
May I interrupt? I would like Mr. Ali in feedback on that.
Okay, Mr. Ali.
Well, yeah, Honorable Shilon, you do have a point. The process employed to approve the president in appointment purely relies on the judgment of the parliament. I think then duty now for examine the criteria, then duty also, unfortunately, now for make judgment. And I guess me go make an argument, say their judgment, if you look at the criteria that the Constitution give, where qualify somebody for be commissioner of the elections process, it there are two elements here. There's one that explains what disqualifies him, and there's one that explains the qualifications. And then there is a reference to the qualifications of parliamentarians, which the person when they choose as commissioner should have met. So it's reasonable to me that a parliamentarian go say, okay, I go focus on the criteria will qualify you for be parliamentarian and use that as a judgment for see if this man qualify for be electoral commissioner. Maybe another parliamentarian go say, I go focus on the disqualifying process or one of the elements of the disqualifying process of a parliamentarian for see whether this man qualify. And perhaps somebody else go say, I go mix both. So it is difficult to say what will be the wisdom of the parliament. But notwithstanding, as we have seen, since parliament they make judgment on the qualification or even the understanding of the law, which is what they actually were demonstrating here, I think I go give deference to the parliament and say the parliament has made its decision, and if there are any aggrieved parties, let we go to the court and see what in the court say. And we go therefore live with the judgment of the court. But for now, he's our new electoral commissioner.
Right. Because like you rightfully say, they don't elect him, but the opposition, they say that they're going to court. And we wait for the court because Dr. Yumkela clearly saying all Sierra Leoneans know with Salone courts, they're not a work the way they're supposed to work independently of all the other outside influences. And down there, they will get for build those good institutions for local country go before, because like we say, we have to build good institutions because we don't see the same problem. That's why we're calling on for letting revisit the constitution again, because we don't see them doing APC time. They don't do unto SLPP. Now SLPP, they do unto APC. Now APC, they use the same word, that same language, that same sentence. Now and then they use now again against SLPP for all them to the fire, say let them go court for let them see if the court will give the judgment and the final verdict. Because we want one word, and where there's uncertainty, there's chaos. So we get for clarify, we get for do, then thing there. So because these are the things that hold us, it's good, it's healthy, forget opposition. It's healthy for, one side, not go just wait and call one day pull out, but we get forget healthy opposition. That's what I mean to say, because not this toxic way they go on among us and among our people. And in the end, like I always say, now the people of Sierra Leone, that they will, the lines are open, and if we have the callers, we can take them. The lines are open. We have opened the lines already. So if we not get call them, or not call in, or not get question, or something on our ad. But while we wait on now, we don't talk on the electoral. Let me go to the census of where President Bio announced sometime last month on July. They talk on the census of 2020 that he's going to make it on their whatever they get for do census. That means say they get for go count almost people, they get for go host to host, door to door. We were in America, yeah. We know say this year 2020 in a census here in America. We know say they don't send we letter electronically. Then send we letter, we fill them out, we send them, or we go online, we fill them. They want they will not fill them, then therefore go door to door and later. But say we not get to that point there, it's not Salone, but we'll get there. But the president don't put them. And the census people, and they say in 2015, President Anescoma then at that time did a census. And census now every 10 years. Now the president don't call for another census because of some people they say because the registration, the number of people there where they get per registration, no match the census or whatever it is, all the theories out there. But do we need a census for 2020? Well, we already get on 2015. But they say we have a call. But let the caller hold on a second. Let me just start this conversation. Let's turn to Mr. Emmanuel because I know he has prepared for this. Do we need a census in 2020? 5 years ago, we had one. what is the rush and what is the urgency for do another census 5 years later? Can you please help us with that, sir?
Yeah, we absolutely need a census, and I think the public need to understand why. Again, this is a midterm census or review, and it's within the purview of the president for do that. But here is the rationale. So the last time we didn't do census, which was 5 years ago, you're right, 2015, there were lots of fundamental flaws in the process and in the mechanism and in the outcome and the output of the process and the data that was collected. Let me be very specific. About 59% of the country where them be categorized in certain areas them as type 3 localities, then call them. Now areas there and then they where them be count in clusters. So then go say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 villages them clustered together, and this 9 we believe say now the number, but they not be able for accurately count them now villages them. 59% of the country, the last census not be able for specifically account for the numbers where exist now villages them where constitute that type 3 localities them. So the president and the Statistics Sierra Leone haven't looked at their numbers and other data they will collect, decide say, in order for the government in medium range economic plan for be aligned with the cartographic nature of the country, therefore find a way for get more accurate recording of the whole country. But the president in his wisdom decides instead of doing 59%, you might as well do the whole country and get an even more accurate count. Now, here is what you would benefit with this 2020 census. Today, we get more advanced technological processes that are being employed for capture real data, not the specific villages them. In fact, let me just quickly round up. The collection and the storing and retrieval of information is going to be very rapid based on the technology we get today. When they send enumerators then for Gona villages, then no matter how remote, in past times, then just go sit down on side, then forge numbers, then come back, then write them. None of it, most of it was not accurate. Today, if they give you an electronic pad where it's directly linked to the command center, now Statistics Sierra Leone, where your activities in the most remote village now being colored, is linked and censored and tracked and tagged to that main hub within a Freetown. They know where you're at, they know what you're collecting, what your input is. It is much faster, it is smarter. In fact, they now get what they call a computer-aided interview process where go help for ask the questions them, where at the end of the day, it's really about counting the people and aligning the government in agenda and in processes with the demographic and the cartographic of the country. So this is exactly what is informing the president in motivation for make sure say there is an accurate count of the country and that the agenda, the medium range planning of the country is aligned with the needs. How do we know how many school picking are they being colored? How do we know how many school picking are they to conquer? How do we know how many women and they of a certain age, whether we need health center, whether we need all of these things? The census has a purpose. So this is not the reason for the census. It is a census that helps the whole process and everyone. And yes, now we go get an accurate count of the people of Sierra Leone.
So what will it cost us Sierra Leoneans for that census? I'm just curious.
Well, the research shows that it's going to be much cheaper.
Okay.
It's going to be much cheaper because of the use of technology. Now you're going to be in a village where you have an iPad that is collecting all this information, the data collection, the data processing, because it is computer-based and computer-aided, the collection, the analysis, the relaying of the information, all of that is over the internet and the Wi-Fi. And so it is going to be, the projection is the technology has allowed the cost for be very not minimal, but significantly cheaper than hiring enumerators, supervisors, section supervisors, team supervisors. A whole lot of layers can be eliminated now, and there's a direct link between the enumerators in the villages and the control center, the war room in Freetown at Statistics Sierra Leone.
So what would you say to Sierra Leoneans there where they say the question and where they talk on social media say, oh, SLPP, they do this because they're not satisfied with the registration, and they want for try for rig the elections, and they want try for bring other thing there inside there for try for fidget so that they go win 2023. What do you say to those Sierra Leoneans them say where they make that claim there?
Well, as I explained, the purpose of census now for collect data, for count people, for get specific information about specific areas and the whole country. 59% of the country was erroneously accounted for. Lots of information were missing. Now 59% of the country. In fact, the 2015 census results review shows there were significant gaps that were identified in that process. This process in the 2020 part, they fixed them gap then they. And the purpose of census now for help people them. Now for know how many school we need, how many hospital we need, how many disabled people then they under, how many women then they, how many man then they, what kind of representation do we need, how many pikin then they. All of that help government resources for be channeled, reallocated from places that perhaps we don't need them to places that we need them. So let's Sierra Leoneans them trust the process, let them believe in the project, and let them know say what's in the
Okay. Let me take the caller then first because Mr. Ali gets a little technical something over there. Let me take. Oh, okay. You've been kind of freeze for a moment. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
No, I'm sorry. I just say the people of Sierra Leone for be heartened that the process they work for them. That the government they do census for align in vision in projects in processes them for work for the people them. So they go know how many school picking and they under, how many teachers will for send there, how many bella woman and they under, which kind of help will go send there, how many man and they under or youth man and they, which kind of project will go to that region. All of this about the people.
Yeah, point taken. One more just quick question. Then I'm gonna make Mr. Shilon then come in a little bit later and Madam Martha, because now we take the audience then call. But you said trust the process. Is that the same process we're gonna be using in election? So we gonna know who that's almost votes more inside the box. Will they be ready in 2023 for do that same technology they use for the census, so that we will have a credible election in 2023? Will that system be ready, just the remote and the computer and all this wonderful technology that you talk about right now, sir?
Well, I go tell you, sir, in 1967, Sir Albert called Stevens and congratulated him and stepped aside. In 2007, Solomon Berewa called Koroma, congratulated him, and stepped aside. SLPP has a record of principles. We run a fair election. We run a clean election. And if we lose the election, we lose the election. But we have never rigged an election. APC has never won an election. They have always rigged elections. And so, again, that is all I would say, that yes, we must trust the process, because history is the best guide of the present and the future. If we've done the right thing in the past, we will do the right thing today, and we will do the right thing in the future.
Okay, I know I will hold you to your word come 2023 because we will be watching. Me and other no political party. I'm watching. Caller, let me take the caller then. Mr. Shilon and Madam Martha, please hold your thoughts. I know you will come to it. But let we listen to waiting with people then at Salone because they are the voice of Sierra Leone. Good afternoon, caller. What's your name, sir, ma'am? And what you who side they call you from?
Hello, Mina Aruna, the call from New Jersey.
Yes, Mr. Aruna, go ahead, brother. What you get?
Yes, first of all, before we give me statement, and I want to ask this question to the both parties. I don't know whether the constitution they tell we say, in other words, for say that means the next appointed boss, not for them in any government position, 12 months prior to the appointment. Is that the other way of for say? That means for them any government appointed position or government for any public office, 12 months prior to a appointment. Okay, then
Yes,
then that is a question for both the two guests then there. And then I also want to tell we get them themselves there's no other political party, not the way they go ever a sitting government go ever appoint a next boss. It just accept that. That's not just a system in our country. We see that in 2000, the next in fact, SFP they walk out of parliament because SFP not able too much propaganda or too much make noise. But when APC appointed for Ali Konneh, SFP not even there for the appointment. They work, so that is just a normal. Not ever expect the APC go accept SFP nomination, neither SFP accept APC nomination. But the whole system where we get out the country, and the problem of the constitution. The lacuna of the constitution is so bad and they create all these problems in our country. Because it go say one section go talk this, then it go contradict this in the other section. And any of the government where it come, it go use them, abuse them, and misuse them. And all day we they cry. We see the last government they try they try for change they try for amend the constitution. Justin Kawa they spend that money all, but the past government not ever give or adopt all the recommendations then. And up to now, this other government don't carry itself, not do nothing. So now it make because they want to use them to their own best. As a political, expediency where they can what is fit they go do. So then we go for the complaint. Till next one, as long as the constitution we don't able to change them because the court we not go rely on them. Let SLP tell APC for going to court. Let SLP tell we how many cases where APC don't care after election where they don't adjudicate, they don't pass verdict plan. How many cases? None. So this is how the money go add again where they go add it in the court. So that all not just an scapegoat for SLP tell APC say they're not satisfied and go in court. There is no good outcome because the court and the parliament they are rubber stamped by the executive branch. There is no co-equal branch. None in this particular government of the sea. No, because the government, the legislation and the judiciary, they work to appease the president, not for the citizens, not for we, or else for they do the rule of law. So that they let nobody no can fool we now. All what they do, even if APC back on the power, now the same thing they go do. And as long as Sierra Leone, we don't need aspiration. Sierra Leone they go, I don't country we they go. We know the number history. Because every day we repeat history. When we talk, this other party do then we say for do. As a country, we know the number history. We repeat history. And we not get no aspiration for longer before because all we with the activities now something where with the reference to and not only bad precedent then with the set. Oh, this that's so the APC sacked the vice president. Fadima, none of my own contribution. That is no good for this country. As long as we will complain about born issues all day, all night. No good, no headway. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We will go guess them. We're going to write on answer them if we never respond. But let we go through the callers quick. Good evening, caller name, please, and who side they call we from?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Hello, viewers.
And who side they call? Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
Do I have the floor?
Yes, you are. You are live. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. My name My name now Fode Maurice.
Yes, Uncle Fode. Go ahead, madam. Yes.
And I recall for address several issues. The first issue I address online, where make comments where Fadima respond to.
Yes.
Just briefly on that it was unfair, it was wrong for VOS for they get two separate arguments, one way they for, one way they against. VOS play the tape, the video of Konneh who supports the nomination and somehow mistakenly forget for play the one where the APC, the main opposition party, opposed the nomination. So I know say VOS like great online TV program where they enjoy, everybody they make mistakes. So I'm willing to forgive on that. But most importantly, what you are called for, that Sidom they enjoy Mr. Emmanuel Aliyu, where they do propaganda definitely for SLPP. But I understand, I'm political party. But here are the facts. Nowhere not in the world where they don't put time limits, say census na 10 years, where then they change a halfway through. Even if waiting me brother Mr. Emmanuel talk na true, say APC being read the census, the record them fault, he gives some percentage, 59%. I'm sitting here laughing. I don't want to call self. I'm sitting here laughing that this guy is bold for Konneh and make them fallacious statements than they. The census where APC being carried out in 2015 was supported by all of our international partners. They were with us in the trenches when people were being counted. But again, when I see a fellow citizen, a brother like Emmanuel making those claims, I think about Professor Hannes Ben's definition of politics. I quote, he said, politics is the art of looking for trouble, finding it, whether it exists or not, diagnosing it incorrectly, and applying the wrong remedy. That is exactly what my brother is doing. If I was on that program and there's no one like Emmanuel challenging me, I will do exactly the same thing. So I'll let it go. On the census, point number one, here's what I will say. The only reason the current government of Sierra Leone, under the leadership of President Julius Maada Bio, is doing a census is to rig the 2023 election. Simple, plain, like that. To rig it. I will explain. So by 2023, it will not be 10 years yet for another census. The next census was 2015. The other one will be on 2025, right? Maada Bio does not want to take chances. The SLPP government does not want to take chances, just as they did not take chances.
I'm going to let him, hold up.
When they forcefully placed a Speaker of the House, kicking out the opposition, police officers, security officers going into the well of Parliament, kicking people out. Maada Bio does not want to risk losing the next election, just as they removed 10 members of Parliament. I can barely hear you, Fadima.
Yeah, Fode Maurice, we're hearing you. I'll give you a few minutes to talk.
Okay. Just as they removed members of Parliament when APC filed petitions, up till now they have not heard any of those petitions. But they decided by themselves and removed APC members of Parliament. This census is the same thing, just as when petitions were filed. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, next time I go cut and short. I cut and short now. I cut and short, but I beg VOS anytime where Mr. Emmanuel, my fellow citizen, me good looking brother, did in this program, I want to be there. Please,
Okay,
Fadima, invite me. Anytime this guy is on that program, I'm ready now. But people don't invite me about the program. But I say, no, last set, I just come back to America and not get time. I mean, but I'm ready now. Anytime this Monday at this program, I want to be there. But let me land. In the end, now same corruption where they don't continue for do, where they go thief, generate on a net, when a government property kill people and take today the investigation and they arrest people. It's a lie. If I have the floor, I wish I was on the program. So the census is fake. The census is bogus. They are doing it to rig the next election. Nobody, no interval, no depend census. For 10 years, 10 years. Even if the other government be wrong. Even if they do something wrong. International partners, they sign, they seal, they approve that previous census. I'll give the floor and I'm enjoying the program. Thank you very much.
So much.
Love you guys. Including you, my fellow citizen Emmanuel. I love you guys.
Thank you. Father Morris is one of the APC guys that I try to reach. If you watch your phone, when the other guests turn me down, I don't try to forget how many times for come on. But he, if you watch your phone, you're going to say I've been called you, but you don't respond to me. But Mr. Emmanuel, I will give you time for respond to Mr. Fode. Let me take some more. I will give you, I promise, I will give you ample time. I will give you ample time, sir, to respond to them. Because I want to take a few more calls first. Let me read the other people then. Then I will give you the time for talk. Thank you. Next caller, please. Good evening. What's your name and where you call me from?
Hello, hi.
Yes, please. Turn
Hello, good morning. Sorry, hello, hi.
Yes, hi.
Hello, Sister Martha. Howdy, buddy. Yes, you did.
Hi, thank you. Go ahead, please.
Oh, yes, thanks. Yes, hello, hi. My name is Mohamed. I want just make some comments on the first one, the travel fare. The test fare where SLPP puts for travelers the way they go to Salone.
Okay.
The $80 fare. Okay, good. This. Say, for example, I don't travel kind of overseas country, right, on a visit. And then, of course, I can't get locked up. Now this lockdown business really gone, the corona issue. Now me can visit and not get money. They're now ready for going to Salone. Waiting could be my position. I can get money beside in Europe or something like that because now visit I can't visit. Are they on my way now for go back? But they don't come put money say when it's Salone they travel or anybody they travel go to Salone for pay $80. Why if I not get that money? Anytime in a baby say me tickets have been get, I just extend them because of the coronavirus, and I did on my way back for going to Salone. Now they don't come put say pass and make a test. I mean, I for pay $80 while reaching a Salone, waiting to make position at that. Then I they also I go and let that guy Emmanuel where be they argue say anybody will travel, you get money for travel, so therefore $80 is nothing. It is something. You understand? So now that then my second point now for talk about the issue of nepotism, the appointment of that lady with them put as minister, I think vice minister or something, deputy minister. Sister Martha, you clearly dealt with the issue. You define it correctly, and I support and agree with your definition of nepotism. That is what it is. And nepotism itself, the definition of it, it link up with corruption. And we all know say this bill government, a corrupt government, you understand? The one that the people then they take and say he appoints that woman they as in that position because it is afraid say perhaps then go make then go remove them or then go take in. I don't know how the situation they work. Salone they what I mean? It is afraid say if supports people like the person we give the power to, that one way appoint, then it not good in the good book of Prince Harden. That is, I accept that. Me personally, I look at the appointments as corrupt, and politics or government system is like a corporate governance, like corporation companies. Even in company law, where you want to do transaction with somebody when a family member, there are rules about that. You understand? The reason why the rules they frown on doing transaction. I mean, in nature of that, as it happens, in these cases because of conflict of interest. We all don't see say Madabio as Emmanuel. I don't think if they use the hate. We although the man say get in a good lawyer, I don't think he is. Where Emmanuel say all the friends the way Mr. Bill gets and friends them. We all let no one that way is Adam Kolam, the chief minister, where they accuse him of corruption.
Okay.
You know get my charge him. They're not gonna investigate them because my friends
Next
corruption.
caller, please.
Iran.
Next caller,
So that's what it
please.
is.
You 3 minutes are up. Sorry.
Thank you.
They give you a little bit time. They give
Thank you.
people a
Thanks.
little
Bye.
bit time after the
Thanks.
3 minutes. Yeah. For roundup. Good evening, caller. Name please, and where they call we from?
Okay, me na Ibrahim. I call from Maryland.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please, Mr. Ibrahim.
Thank you, Mr. Adima, for giving me a platform. Though me na first time call, I've been listening to the program there, but not been to get chance for call because I'm doing a job, but I get chance for you to contribute. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
First of all, this government then be out agenda one of the manifesto where they say in a new direction, but we Sierra Leone will not be asked there what not the meaning of this new direction where they carry it. We just go vote there in. So when they come, because they campaign against the former administration, what them they do, we see say the idea where they carry it makes sense to we vote them in. Now we don't come in. Now what the previous people that them they accuse or condemn what them they do, now the similar thing they do. Mr. Emmanuel not get for talk the truth because na SLPP member he get for in the defense. First of all, look at this midterm election. Census. Sorry. So this census, what them do 2015, what's not the problem? What's not the problem where he get when they say they get some loopholes where they try for can do a midterm census, so no one day get in our country. If we only them people that they try for preach peace and they want out unity in the country, and obviously at the time this because we get but in the way we need for spend money pa. Now two constituencies they so right now they not get member of parliament where they don't deprive the right there. All the constituencies they get member of parliament. Why them two constituencies then they not get member of parliament because they don't get money for fund neck for do the elections. That nearly done. We get other things that they go in the country who need money. Who the healthcare workers and they complain about the allowance they only pay them. And they try for see to the problem they made them try for solve them problem and they can't spend 14 billion euros for census. To me, it don't make sense. It's just waste of money. And they just want for score the political game. Because sometimes what the APC do when they create new district there, so they want to do the same thing. For either for reduce the population at the other side, then they increase their own population at the southeast. Now so my opinion, so I look at the thing. For this census, it don't make sense to me. I'm in constitution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is the voice of Sierra Leone. Next caller, please. What's your name? Who's you call we from? Hello, caller. Go ahead, please. Name and who's you call from? Hello, caller. Turn down your set. You go hear you better because you the echo, you the feedback.
Hello, Fadima. How are you, Fadima?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. What's your name? Who's you call
Good,
from?
Fadima. Your name is Lamin. I think my own question is specifically to Mr. Ali. Mr. Ali, I've watched Mr. Ali so many times where they can at the program. A very good contributor, and we respect his opinion as Sierra Leoneans. And I think we the young Sierra Leoneans, then we learn a lot from Mr. Ali, Mr. Salone, and you, Fadima, and Mrs. Mata, where they always did at the show, where I think she's very objective in contributions that we give, and we all learn so much. But my own question for Mr. Ali regarding the census is first thing. Mr. Ali said that they use the technology we then get for use, like when they go to the villages, they get a direct link. A link to the system or the mainframe system within Freetown. At the time Mr. Ali say, wait till Mr. Ali they talk. I know they say they lie, but it's false. Because when they talk about the technological connection in Sierra Leone, even the remote village system, they don't get internet. Even when you go offline, some of the villages the way they travel, internet connection are there. So tell me how you they get someone where they send at that remote village where they connect to the main server in Freetown, where they do that direct link, which is false. Another thing when Mr. Ali they tell you, he said the sample size, 59% of the sample size was false or was not correct, as in say, or get problem. Let Mr. Ali tell me any parts in the world where they get 100%, where they do a census, where the sample they be correct. Because every day in places like Sierra Leone, like in places like Saudi, America, the UK, Australia, and the rest, we get bats and death. Where people then die, we able to record them instantaneously. You know, they bury somebody when they record on the system. When they burn somebody, we able to record on the system. But in places like Sierra Leone, a village when they burn somebody die, we able to record them at that time. How can we get 100% census population? So some of the time, some of we the young ones, so you say some of these people are coming to these shows, they are like, then they mislead we. We they look at inside we eye, then they mislead we. Then they tell we the facts. They're not objective. We they live places like we don't go schools now. Some of who are highly educated, we get masters and double masters, but we not agree for particular program here. We they listing them or waiting to happen. You know, we want to go contribute and we nations. But we see people like these people coming to this show, and they think objectively. They don't go school now them places there. They don't get any degrees them, but still they are misleading with people them. Then we are asking ourselves, where are we heading for? Because if we will not be able to think objectively, like for an example, you get like Fox News in the United States. Fox News, you always know, say a Republican station. I watch Fox News most of the time, even though I'm a Democrat. I listen to the people and what they call Fox News. They're all objective. Even in the Senate, when they try to approve a person when a Republican, you have a Republican senators, they would always sometimes vote against these senators them, or these approvals them, or ask them tough questions them, even when they're a member of the same party. So why some of the time when they get people on the Canadian platform here, that they lie away again and they told the same government line, they're not trying to be objective, moving the nation forward. Fadima, I think they do good job, but we get a long way for go.
Thank you so much. One more caller, then I go give me panelists them. We done for today. Let's take one more. No, say no, just take one more right now. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, please, caller. What's in his name? And who side they call me from? Hello, caller. Good evening. Name, please, and who side they call me from? Yes, please. Go ahead.
Hello. Yes, Miss Fadima. How are you? Mina Ezekiel. I call from St. Louis, Missouri.
Yes, Mr. Ezekiel. Go ahead, sir. What you get for our party?
Yes. Beginning with the COVID-19 test. Now, what do you mean concerning that? I don't know why Israelis, when it comes to our own country business, we always want to raise issues with that. I don't see nowhere the same Israelis go to struggle for family for coming to the United States. They will go through all their own personal doctors. They give them all qualifications that it has okay. But the United States get a standard where they say, then they subject you for go through their own doctor. And as you is there on you for go pay it. They don't even care for know whether you get the money for go pay it. But all they want is you for go through that doctor, specified doctor. And before ever they try for come to the country. I mean, this is not for COVID-19. This is just a general standard we then get. So we all obey them to the day. And here, when it comes to Sierra Leone, people, they raise a lot of issues. This is something where they really pain me. Then the other point where they follow all the trends. Ms. Fadima.
Yes, sir.
When it comes, one time I've been contributing on this where it comes to constitutional problems with Salone gets, not to today. But what thing they pain me, that is high level hypocrisy where we all as Israelis don't play to this day. Because when we begin for the addressing problems as they occur, we will don't come this far. But if I can ask, where are all these many voices today when they come on Australian issues pretending they all want to lend their voices for let Salone go before? Where we are all these voices for 11 years where we constitution been there under constant attack and destruction? I'll give you evidences. A sitting mayor elected by the people, it's not so even political party issue. People, their own franchise. We sit down watch in that country. A president remove that man from office, the current C4C leader in the parliament. Everybody kept quiet on that. We not even get all these voices. Is it that they're not be sensitive to the issues of Sierra Leone? We left see, before I come to even the vice president, we see inside Sierra Leone a sitting president double as chairman and leader of EU political party, and yet we allow an to preside over our constitution. And when they destroy them with impunity, nobody not get mind for talk. In other words, it derogates what we call checks and balances, even within the EU party. Nobody not get no cough on NCND. They not say anything. Let alone we come to the sitting vice president. With all that disenfranchisement, with all that destruction on the corruption on the constitution, nobody not say anything. You know, so when we get on to that point, if we want to really be sincere and talk something true to our conscience and for the good of Salone, we not let we begin about when they look at all these attacks on this government and President Bill, I have nothing left but to think that it is really corruption that is fighting back. That is my opinion. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Like I say always, this is not the voice of Sierra Leone. Everybody gets a voice. As long as you do respectfully, you can at the platform, you sound off. The one they wait for Yeri, and we don't come to an end today. We don't talk. And I know say panelists they wanna get on a answer they want to give back to the people them. But one thing I want to say, a lot of times people are asking the question, why what you do now then they talk now, because let we look say 10 years ago Sierra Leoneans they not get cell phone. If they get self not so boku people then get them. Now internet's done day, and then they get a free communication what they call WhatsApp, they call Facebook, they call Instagram, they call Twitter and TikTok and all the other stuff the way they people then they sound off, then they hear more. It just be like when long-term civilization be there, they not be get plain. They say before news come up from one side to the other. Now, as soon as something happens, there's picture, there's camera, whether propaganda or whether fact or whatever they do, it is out there flooding us every day, bombarding us with all everybody in point of view. So I will not come to the end. I will give me guess them, make the respond and give them final waiting and call and takes then time, because political parties are just bunch of concepts and ideas. We all get for know that everybody they fight for me own good passion. That's all they're doing. But we get for no say there as people that are involved, their lives that are involved, and call them citizens of Sierra Leone, and we'll get for make things the way they work for them. So I give first the floor to Mr. Aliu, because a lot of people come at you and kind of challenge what you say. So what you want to respond and what what way you left to the people. Then I know say you write some of them down, and give me your own. Yes, sir, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, again, it's always nice to engage the public and hear their opinion. Hear the editorials, because most of the people who came at me were editorializing. Then they give their opinion rather than facts. I was giving facts rather than opinion. When I go back to Statistics Sierra Leone, I review the review of the 2015 census, which was supported by Boku international organizations. These findings were also endorsed by the international organizations, and everything I said on this show are facts that I have reviewed and studied. So I challenge the one that will come at me with the editorial for them to do their homework and get the facts, and then we can have a debate. To Mr. Fode Morris, I said the same thing. The reason for the census has been clearly articulated, outlined, and it is supported by the fact that there were a series of gaps, significant gaps, where then at the 2015 election, and the president in medium-term economic plan, where run from 2019 to 2023, if we want to forget a baseline, now the whole country, upon which it go align the country in agenda and economic plan. So these were not Emmanuel's opinion. These were not Emmanuel's point of view. These were facts. I challenge anybody for review and come back and challenge these facts. These were from Statistics Sierra Leone. These were from what governs SLPP rules and so on. So I come here, engage in the public, and I do my assignment. It would be unfair for that kind of answer and just spill out things that are not true. So I would like to encourage my my adversaries, those who are on the other side, to do the same instead of engaging in editorialization. But I give credit to VOS. They've done a great job, and then continue for, again, like Mr. Fode Morris, then give them a good 6 minutes, so nobody not going to accuse VOS, say they're one-sided. They gave them plenty of time, you know. But again, we're going to move this country forward by conversations. Everybody is well-meaning, I believe. Everybody has a point of view, but I think at some point we go arrive at some fact and truth upon which we will build the foundation of this nation. Yes, I believe that most of us are motivated by the fact that we want Sierra Leone better. And this program help we for have the conversation. I respect the cordiality and the respect that we engage in. And I really tell Una thank you, because Una they perform a really, really good public service. And thank you, Madam Savage, for what you do, and all the people that are at the background. To my esteemed, honorable friend at this point, Mr. Shilon, I've always been magnanimous and have always been gracious. And the people appreciate every one of us. I have never made apologies about my political persuasions. I am absolutely convinced that the only way out, the only way forward for Sierra Leone is SLPP. But I believe so everybody can come in and help build a country that is good for every one of us. Thank you again, and I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, and I thank you for coming always. At the last minute, you show up. And to Fode Morris, I tried to extend the invitation. I called him, but he didn't answer when the guests turn out. Not for come, Mr. Shilon. Madam Martha, I'm going to put you last. We're going to give our guests first. I know they say ladies first, but you know, we are feminists, so we don't want that weakness. We can go anytime, right? So
right.
let me give to Mr. Shilon. And Mr. Shilon, sir, your anything where you want to answer to what's in the audience saying your last
yeah, just a few brief points.
Yes, sir.
What did Mr. Ali mention about all the good intentions by the current government for the census, I have no reason to doubt. But if we look at the totality of the situation as to what is good for Sierra Leone, these things can also be done for the next census, which to my understanding should have been 2025.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it is wrong for any government, unless the law doesn't say what all of us are saying, because they say the census will be every 10 years, or unless APC was wrong to have done one in 2015, maybe one should not have been done then. And I can argue that two ways. If APC did one in 2015, when it wasn't supposed to have been done, then it's just as wrong for SLPP to do one now, when it's not supposed to be done, unless this was when it was supposed to have been done, where APC decided not to. The danger about this is a slippery slope, and we have to be very careful. With all the best of intentions, if the law, I am just sticking with the law. If the law says every 10, we must stick with every 10. Because what is there to stop another government in the event the BO government doesn't win? Well, what is the precedent has been set that the BO government decides to hold for the best of intention, you know, for the most noble of purposes, that the BO government decided to hold a census 5 years earlier. And in fact, when you do that, it leads to all kinds of suspicion, all kinds of speculations. And you know, when we begin to suspect, when we begin to speculate, of course, inferences could be just as wrong as anything. So we owe a duty to the population of things, but try Nobody's expecting, because politics at the end of the day is a game, it's a game. And with very little of sincerity involved in it. Now we were there around. We like watching a game where the players are playing rough, breaking all the rules, but we who are standing there watching the games should be able to say, hey ref, the man don't play foul, the man don't do this, the man don't do that, even if the referee not to blow the whistle. So I don't expect too much of politicians, but the president falls in a different category, because at the end of the day, we say BO government and a Skurma government. Nobody talks about the Chief Justice, nobody talks about Attorney General, nobody talks about ministers of this and that. So I think those at the top, who are the president, should be very mindful. So I would say, if there is no legal basis to conduct this, if the law doesn't permit it, I think it's an abuse of power. If the law permits the censors, because there is discretion given to the president, I still think it's an abuse of discretion and waste of money. That would be my position. And because I am all for what is good for Sierra Leone. There is also another thing. If we are citing statistics and we're citing reports, it will be helpful to we all if we give the information or the site of what we would refer to. If we say international organizations found this, found that,
Statistics Sierra Leone, I said.
Let's give the sources so we can go and double check, because we're here to determine facts. And you know, we all are familiar with this statement. We're all entitled to our opinions, but we're not entitled to our own facts. Facts come in one classification. So to help the public understand and to keep the good spirit of this program, I think it would be good for just cite people and sources.
I kept citing Statistics Sierra Leone.
Okay. But last but not least, the last gentleman who called, who will say, who saw all people in Bide, I think he's missing a lot here. Because VOS did not exist the time when they say who saw all these people in Bide. Who saw himself Bide? That's the issue. So he should be thankful of the fact that we get an organization like a medium like this. So instead of complaining about what people are saying, which he considers to be criticism of a particular government, he should be thankful that the opportunity exists that he can come and raise an issue. But let's remember, we come on this program for come up with ideas. They don't necessarily have to be the correct ideas. It's just for come up with ideas. We'll go try for help the country to move forward. Because again, and this has been a theme of the statement, I mean, I don't care which category you look at things. If you look at it from a judicial standpoint, Sierra Leone that used to be the beacon in West Africa, would send judges to Uganda, Kenya, other places. We are way behind. It was recently that the Kenya Supreme Court set aside an entire presidential election. Yes. Set it aside. So we are seeing precedents in Africa. Okay? So it's up to us. Gone are the days where we'll say, oh, we can't be like America, we can't be like Germany. There are African countries now that are putting infrastructures in place for good governance. So it's up to us. But Sierra Leone, we must admit, we are way behind in terms of everything, even education now. The country that used to be the envy of Africa, we are now way behind every one of these countries. We can't continue. We must be more sincere. The APC, SAPP jargon, that does nothing for Sierra Leone. We have to be nationalistic. We have to look at things in a national scale. And those, regardless in what color they come, C4C, NGC, APC, if all they are doing coming up under political clothing, they are not good for the country. I can tell you that. What we need genuine Sierra Leoneans who consider themselves Sierra Leoneans first, and any other party affiliation or tribe second. That's how I see my fellow Sierra Leoneans. I don't see Sierra Leoneans as, oh, you're not Timini man, you're not Minde man, this and that. All of that is rubbish. We are where we are, and we are what we are. And nationalism comes first, and everything is a secondary. So for my brothers and sisters, and with the call, try for understand and go with the spirit of the show. We are just trying to come up with ideas, not attack people and for say, the people that we're talking now, who said them be there? Well, we all be there. Where could we have said all what you would say so? It never existed.
There was not a medium.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And to my own sister, Madam Martha.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Mr. Ali for being on the program, and then obviously to Mr. Shillon. I learned so much from him, and to all the callers. I want to say thank you to all of them. And I want to leave here today with waiting for the Mari say to we. That you find the solution. You get a problem. You identify the problem, and when you come to the solution, you get it wrong. And in that spirit, we want to say to the president of Sierra Leone, when they elected you into government, they elected you to be able to rule us by using the Constitution as a guide. Use the framework of the Constitution for rule we. You will not want too much discretion. To president to rely on too much discretion, we're going to lead to abuse of power. We want the president to focus on his duties to Sierra Leoneans, and we wish him well, and we hope all Sierra Leoneans yes, everywhere we face on this earth, we're all willing for work with the president for make Sierra Leone better in the spirit of nationalism. Thank you, Madam Fadima, for having me.
Thank you so much. Well, we don't come to the end, and me not go talk Boko again. All I can say, let we try for build our communities for be healthy and strong. Let we try for build we communities for be healthy and strong. And remember, politics, political parties are just concepts and ideas, and we cannot take it as a gospel. And it is okay sometimes to change your thought and think for yourself and waiting, then they tell you and how they tell you. Because in the end, the mission, I can always say, Sierra Leone. The mission is Sierra Leone. So we pray for we leaders, we pray for we country. Let God bless we all. Let God bless we leader them and give them wisdom for rule the right way. What will benefit the people, because the people of Sierra Leone are suffering. The people are crying. The people need basic necessities of life, and we cannot do it if we all defeat one another. We forget the right direction where Mother Bio promissory, President Bio promissory, new direction. Hope it is the right direction towards change, towards building, towards continuity for the next person we go get for come. So I love you all. God is love. Go beyond beautiful. Like I always say, if I shine, they're not jealous me. I walk by myself. Go walk on your own. And tomorrow the sun will shine over you, the cloud over me. So till next week, I love you all. Let God keep and preserve we. Until we meet again, I say, I salute you. Good night, Fadima. Out.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.